With 3D trial rooms and curated collections for millennial, abof, Aditya Birla Group's new fashion portal is all set to change the rules of online shopping. I'm here at the Bangalore office of abof to meet Mr. Prashant Gupta, President and CEO of abof.com. From him, we'll find out more about this new entrant in the retail space. Thank you, Mr. Gupta, for your time with OnStream. I'll begin by asking you, how did abof happen? With all your experience, how did you go about preparing for this new role?
When I joined the group back in 2011, at that time I had the discussion with Mr. Birla that I would do this role for about 3 years, and then I would move on to something which is more line oriented, something in the business. And as that mark approached, I think I sat down with Mr. Birla and we iterated on a few options, and in parallel there was conversation going on around what the group wants to do in e-commerce and so on. And I essentially put up my hand and I said, Mr. Birla, if you want somebody to lead this, I'm happy to do it and build it for the group. I think he therefore gave me the mandate to build out very broadly speaking, the e-commerce portfolio for the group. And as it happens, abof is the first step in that direction.
Aditya Birla Group is already present in the online space through Trendon and Pantaloons online store. What precipitated the need for abof.com?
So we had many conversations with Mr. Birla. His main question was that what can the group as a whole do within the e-commerce space? And obviously we looked around the world. We came back with a few insights, and I think that is what eventually got deliberated with him. So one was that this is a huge trend globally, and it's likely to be a huge trend in India. A lot of people will shop online for many things, and consequently it's a no-brainer to strengthen presence of existing businesses within the group in the online space. And obviously therefore Trendon has a role to play. Trendon is the official store for all the brands that are owned by Aditya Birla Nuvo, and they need to scale it up. Independent of that, there was a question that we posed to Mr. Birla, and we said that, Mr. Birla, there is a real choice here. You can actually let it be, and you just take existing businesses online, and that's good enough. It's a question of how you see the risk, how you see the return, and how do you see the plausibility of pulling it off and all of that. And as luck would have it, he said that he had conviction that yes, consumers will increasingly shop online, and a pure play online foray has some merit, and consequently we agreed that okay, we will start with fashion as a category and do something in fashion e-commerce, and that's how abof was effectively conceived.
How is abof different from other fashion portals like Myntra, Jabong or Flipkart?
Obviously last year when we were looking at the space, we did a lot of consumer research. We spoke to about 2,000 people. It was very clear that most consumers associated two words with all the existing incumbents, including Myntra and Jabong, which was range and discounts. Obviously, these competitors have already built a presence. They have built a reasonable scale, and we could not have been doing the same thing again. So we had to find our differentiator, and therefore we went down the path of saying we would stand for not range, not discount. We would stand for very personalized experience. We would stand for outstanding shopping and delivery experience. We would stand for curated merchandise, which is in trend. We would stand for the best place in fashion, as opposed to the largest place in fashion, right? So I think those are choices we made strategically, and we've tried to execute against that strategy. And the way we have thought about our landing page, for example, it's like an Instagram feed, which is a set of bite-sized stories. So we are calling it Instagram meets Twitter. Effectively, that story is one visual with one caption. If you like what you see, you click on it, you are taken to a very short story, 60 words. And if they like it, then they can shop immediately the products associated with that inspiration. And that experience has been designed very differently.
The one different thing about abof.com is the 3D trial room. That's something really exciting. Can you tell us more about that?
So when we started the whole shopping experience thing, I think it was very clear that one aspect of the shopping experience which is very painful for people was size and fit. And this is no great insight. It's a very well-known fact about fashion. It's both a barrier to purchase. Many people don't even buy online because they believe that they will not get the right fit and they can't try it. And many of them try it, and then they get something which doesn't fit them, and then they switch off. They return the product and never buy again. So we felt that if there was one problem to solve in this industry, it was the size and fit. And then we actually looked around the world. We looked at 2-3 companies. We finally zeroed in on this company called Meetail, which is based in UK. We then decided to partner with them. So we brought that technology from UK to India. It has meant that we had to work with them on adapting it for India, because the way it works is you have to understand the body shape. So we started with Indian women, and we said Indian women typically have these kinds of body shapes. A lot of data had to be provided by us to them about the Indian women body shape. They used all of that to create an algorithm in the back end which can render the right silhouette and image and the 3D avatar for an Indian woman basis certain basic measurements. And we had to catalog it very differently. So we have a very highly automated cataloging facility dedicated to this 3D imagery, which is over and above a regular cataloging that you do. The purpose was to try and solve this one specific problem, which is more acute for women. That's why we started with women as a category or a gender. The early signs are it is yielding results. I think most of the women who have used that feature have liked it a lot. They have spent at least twice the amount of time that a normal user does. It has resulted in 4 times more buying by consumers. They are more probable to buy because they understand what the product actually looks like on their kind of body shape. And returns, which is also a big problem in this industry, is very close to zero for the products where this is enabled. So I think we are getting quite encouraged with both the adoption and the impact of this technology, and our hope is that we will be able to further strengthen the technology in collaboration with our partner, as well as expand its use, not just to women, but firstly within women more categories, and then later on we'll probably add men's also to the 3D trial room and allow men also to sort of use it as a way to test their fit.
Another concept that you've introduced is the instant exchange thing. Tell us a little more about it and how it's really helped you retain a customer or impress a customer.
Again, one of the pain points is the size and fit, and therefore what happens oftentimes is that you like the product. Let's say you bought size large and you said, look, it's too loose and I would rather buy a medium. And so in today's context of how the industry works, you have to initiate a return and you have to place a new order. We felt that that's not the right way to deliver customer experience. The best way to do it is actually on the spot exchange, which means somebody comes to you with a medium size garment. On the spot, it gives you the medium size garment at your doorstep and takes away the large size garment. So this is what we call the on the spot exchange. So we had to work out the process in a lot of detail. We are working with our partners on the courier side, the last mile delivery. So they were not used to doing this, right? So we had to work with them and saying, okay, no, we want to do this, and it's a very important feature for our consumers. So let's work out exactly how this can potentially be done from a process perspective, from a technology perspective, from an information exchange perspective, from a tracking perspective, because many of these things have to be tracked, right? So where is the garment? Has it reached here? Has it reached there? And so on. So thankfully, our partners were quite open to this idea because they understood the value of this for the consumer. And we have managed to do a couple of hundred such exchanges already, and successfully so, and consumers who have experienced it are quite delighted that this is possible. Every time we will think about consumer experience, we'll have a very high benchmark on delight, and we will design our entire story around it. We'll design each touch point with that mindset, and hopefully we'll get to the place where, just like Apple consumers and fans are fanatically loyal, our consumers will also be fanatically loyal, and they will not get the same experience from anybody else, hopefully. And that's the motivation with which we are sort of moving ahead with these ideas and principles.
One has heard about Amazon's brutal work culture. What kind of work culture do you think we need to develop within this industry, since it's really coming up, and how is this work culture going to help build attract talent and retain them and also deliver performance at the same time? What's your take on that?
Our view is that we need to have a very open, very transparent, very empowering, enabling kind of a culture, because this is a people business. I think eventually what gets done is squarely a function of who's doing what and how motivated, energized, and problem solving oriented that individual or the team is. You would trust your people, right? I keep saying that you have to trust your people. You have to give them direction, give them the boundary conditions, give them a framework to think about, but then let them be, because they need to get creative, they need to do their own problem solving, they need to come up with ideas that make things happen, and allow them to take some risks, allow them to fail once in a while, allow them to learn from it, and then move forward. So I think it's working so far. I think we've had very little attrition.
From a consultant to a strategic advisor at the chairman's office and now to running a business, how would you describe your journey, and what would you say are the biggest learnings of you?
The journey has been quite exciting on the dimension of leadership. Leadership is about motivating your team to be able to first get excited about a specific vision, a direction you are taking, and then motivating them in a way that they can stretch themselves and go beyond the normal, and then also in the face of adversity and overcome those hurdles and move forward. I think it's quite important to focus on getting your strategy right and at least have the direction set as to what are the differentiators you're going to have to make the business withstand competition or get ahead of competition. I think that's the second most important thing I would say. The third I would say is the fact that achieving anything is a team sport. I think often most people attribute a lot of success to an individual, and I think that's probably misplaced and mistaken. Eventually, what you deliver as impact as an individual is largely driven by people around you at all levels, and how they are able to rally around you, around the direction you have set, around the decisions you have made, and take the ball forward. I think I had an outstanding team in the chairman's office, and therefore my stint there was a lot more fulfilling than it could have been if I did not have a very good team. I think I'm blessed to have a very strong team here as well at abof, and I think that has helped us get to where we are at this point in time. And I think to me, getting the right team in place, keeping them motivated is therefore a very important priority and a big learning for how to get things done.
You're a young leader within the group. What, in your opinion, are the top leadership skills that are needed today, in today's day and age, to lead a successful team or a company?
At my age, I think I'm one of the oldest folks in this industry. Actually, most of the folks are in their 30s or 20s. Having said that, I think as a leader, very broadly speaking, I think the leadership requirements are very contextual. Very contextual in the sense that when I'm doing abof and I'm building it ground up, brick by brick, the kind of leadership I need to have is quite different from if I was doing a turnaround of an existing business. So for this kind of environment, which is, let's say, e-commerce, high growth, fast paced, new age, no major precedents of the past, you can't learn from other experiences and draw parallels and analogies and so on. I think your ability to be very open-minded, very nimble, experimentative, prudently risk-taking, those are kinds of things which help you. To be honest with you, I don't think there is a very easy description of a leadership formula for this kind of a thing. This is, as people say, that phrase which is VUCA, right? The volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So this is a VUCA world, right? I mean, and your intrinsic problem solving abilities, your interpersonal skills in terms of being able to lead a team, motivate them. I mean, those are the kinds of things which are far more valuable.
That was great, great talking to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks.